Hello, everybody, and welcome in live. We are here, of course, on the Xbox One for EIF's 7th Annual Fears Reality pre-show. We're less than an hour away before the final pay-per-view before EIF WrestleMania 9 kicks off. And what a heck of a show we have in store for you tonight. Of course, as always, I'm your host, EIF owner Carney. Thanks for tuning in here on Twitch, where you can follow us and do so much more and be a part of the interactive EIF experience. And we hope you guys are going to enjoy tonight. Tonight, we've got a little something special for you, as we always do here on Twitch, and we're not talking about just the entertainment in the ring. We've got some entertainment for you outside the ring, because thanks to Rat Luck, a shout out to my boy, and one of the challengers for tonight's Undisputed World Championship match yet again, Rat Luck has partnered with Elgato Game Capture, and they are helping bring us a streaming experience like no other. If you watched our last pay-per-view, you'll have noticed that we not only have entrance music back, and we're doing the offline entrances as well. We have the hype videos, but guess what? Now we are bringing back the panel. If you're an EIF superstar, an OG who's been here for years, you know what it is, you know what it was. And if you weren't, you're new to the scene, well, we'll welcome you in. And actually, we're going to be welcoming in my two guests for tonight's panel. They are analysts, and they are also EIF superstars, possibly the greatest in the league today, and some would argue of all time. We've got the undefeated WWE 2K16 competitor, undefeated in Superstardom one-on-ones, a multi-time world champion. In fact, he holds more undisputed championship reigns than any superstar in this league's history, and he happens to hold the longest reign as well. We've got Brutality.
Hey.
And of course, standing next to him, a guy who people say it may be a WrestleMania match made in heaven. Who knows if it'll happen ever, a one-on-one between these two. It has happened outside of Mania, but people feel it should be saved next time for the grandest stage of them all. Straight out of California, it's the former Undisputed Superstardom Champion, 2014 Hall of Fame inductee, Hybrid Maniac.
Hi.
All right, guys, so one thing that's a little different, you can already tell you're actually able to hear these voices. So when we first started the EIF network back in April of 2015, we tried doing this, but it was me as the only voice, so the lead actor, I guess you could say, and I was just sort of reiterating the opinions that the superstars would express on our panel. And if you were a part of that, it was probably a really lackluster pre-show, and we didn't blame you for tuning out, but we hope that you'll stay tuned in. And of course, we've got something for you that's a little on the eyes right now. We've got, like, our cameraman doing some Royal Rumble offline action for you. Of course, earlier this week, at the beginning of the week, you had the WWE Royal Rumble, and at the end of the week, you have the EIF Fears Reality pay-per-view. Doesn't get much better than that. And of course, for WWE, the Royal Rumble set its path for the road to WrestleMania, and for EIF, we've kind of been on that journey a little bit already, and it's going to get even crazier tonight because, guys, we have the final Undisputed World Championship matches before WrestleMania. Our two main events of the evening, Hostile Exile defending his Undisputed World Championship once again in what has turned into a rivalry, grudge match, whatever you want to call it. These three men do not like each other, as he's defending yet again against Rat Luck and DZ. As well as on Superstardom, Prismatic Nebula was able to cash in his Money in the Bank and live a dream he has waited 5 years to get. Will that 5-year dream culminate and end in a 2-week run? We're going to find out. He's the lead match of the evening, defending his title against Jetstar. And again, the winner of these two Undisputed World Championship matches is going to be headed in to the main event of EIF WrestleMania 9 live right here on Twitch. Our next pay-per-view, March 5th, 2016. Circle your calendar if you haven't already. We've got 5 weeks until that night. We're going to give you a memorable performance tonight, as well as some more throughout the weeks leading up to our granddaddy of them all for the year. And Brutality, going to talk to you for a minute here, because you've been a part of the past two WrestleMania main events, and it seems fittingly so to talk to you right now, because you are the 2016 Royal Rumble winner. Nobody knows which World Championship you're going for, and that hasn't been confirmed yet, of course, but you have to have some thoughts, and I just want to know, are you going to be keeping a heavy eye on these two Undisputed Championship matches tonight?
I am. I think one will be really good, and then I think Tripod will lose. I'm just going to say this now. I think Tripod is going to lose and just get destroyed by Jet. So,
well,
I'm kind of on Team Jet for this match. Even though I'm not supposed to give my opinion usually, I'll give it for this one matchup.
Well, hey, you know what? That's what you're going to be giving your opinion for that match along with many others, and we'll get to that because here on the EIF panel, we discuss and analyze the matches headed into tonight's pay-per-view event. These superstars are going to act as analysts for every match except the ones they are competing in specifically, and they're going to give an in-depth opinion on who they think is going to win and why they think that person is going to win. It's going to be some pretty cool stuff. And you know what? Let's kick it off with a match right now. Let's talk about the Money in the Bank qualifier. This is going to be a big night. We've got a big announcement coming up later on this evening regarding Money in the Bank, so make sure you are tuned in, glued to your TV, laptop, smartphone, wherever you're watching this broadcast on. Make sure you are tuned in for the duration from pre-show to the end of the pay-per-view because we have a major announcement regarding the EIF Money in the Bank situation. But tonight, we have a Money in the Bank qualifier. Now, Greedy has already been confirmed into EIF Money in the Bank for WrestleMania 9 for the sole purpose that he was able to earn that privilege through a different way. Tonight, 3 superstars are going to look to earn that privilege the old-fashioned way, lacing up the boots and putting a can of whoop-you-know-what on each other. We've got Triple Threat Superstardom rules, Prof Jag representing the Icon Sting. We've got Frost representing the Architect Seth Rollins, and of course James R. Koffel, the Legend Killer, the Apex Predator, the Viper, every nickname in the book, Randy Orton. And we're going to talk to both Brew and Hybrid about this, starting with Brutality, because Brutality, even though it wasn't a career changer for you when you won and cashed in your Money in the Bank over the summer, this is potentially a career-changing match for a couple of guys in this. Now, Frost, he's been to the top of the mountain a couple times in his career, was only once in 2015, had a pretty decent run. But you look at James and Prof, James is a guy who has really became this dark horse in EIF who's starting to lead way a little bit, had a couple of really entertaining and upsetting matches in a way, and I say upsetting for the fact that we didn't really predict him to do as well as he did and win some of the matches he did, in particular a one-on-one with Greedy. And of course you've got Prof Jag, who people have kept their opinions about this guy, been in EIF for over a year and a half, still has yet to have an Undisputed World Championship match. And although the Money in the Bank qualifier wouldn't guarantee it either, it puts him into a position where this can change your career. And like I've said, your career may not have been changed by Money in the Bank, but Tripod just recently won his first Undisputed Championship. We've seen plenty of other superstars during your era as well win the Undisputed Championship in this league. You know, what kind of changes can this bestow upon these guys? And really, Brew, who needs it most? Not necessarily who you want to win, but of these 3 guys, who needs this Money in the Bank match the most?
I would say probably the person that needs it the most would be James, just because Prof and Frost, they were both already in the Money in the Bank at Christmas Blood. So I think James would probably need it the most. It would help him out, showing that maybe he should end up eventually getting an Undisputed Superstar title match, while Frost has proven that he's already won it. And Prof, he's had title shots before, or like contenders matches for it, and he just doesn't win. So I think James needs it the most.
And, Hybrid, you were in the ring with James just recently. This is a guy who was brought in by Death, current EIF superstar, but the guy is really not here a lot. Death, if you're watching, man, God bless. But either way, Hybrid, this, we think of Death, and then he brought in James. You kind of laugh this guy off. You don't really give him a lot of credit, but I think you were in the ring with him not too long ago. And did he surprise you at all at just, the way he competed compared to what you may have thought going into the match?
Well, yeah, I underestimated the guy. You see his guy, you think, he's one of those new guys that comes in for a little bit and then leaves, but he's actually really good. Don't underestimate the kid. Nope. Who's the new, what's what I'm looking for?
What's the PG word you're looking for?
Yeah. I'm not used to being censored like this, but what's a good way for overcoming the odds? There you go.
Oh, just the ultimate underdog.
Yeah, ultimate underdog. There you go.
And well, a lot of people think that this guy might be that, and so, we talk about this. I mean, here's the other thing that you have to think. You've got Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and Sting. Based on that alone and not anything else, be it who the characters are being represented by, I'm going to ask you guys both. I'll start with Brew. who do you think has the biggest advantage character-wise between Rollins, Sting, and Orton?
I think Sting and Randy Orton are pretty similar. Sting having submission really helps him out, if Prof does in fact decide to go that route. And at the same time, Randy Orton's very good just because he has a really quick finisher with the RKO and it's a pin combo. So I think Frost, out of all the people, has a disadvantage, and I don't really know who has an advantage.
Is that tough of a call? So it sounds like it's a toss-up between Sting and Orton?
Right.
Okay, well, hey, Hybrid, maybe you can clarify Brutality's opinion. Do you have a different one?
Well, I think all the characters are relatively even. I mean, like Bruce said, you got Sting with the sharpshooter, and you also have Sting with the death drop, which is two really good finishers. You got Randy with the RKO out of nowhere, and the kind of so-so punch. And you look at Seth, he has the pedigree and the curb stomp. But correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Seth have move thief? If so, he has another complete new avenue of ways to get finishers.
I do believe he has move thief. I don't know if anybody can check that in the production truck or not. Maybe even
if he doesn't,
Brutality, do you know?
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one. But if he doesn't, he's kind of iffy. I mean, he has the catch. His pedigree isn't that bad, and he also has the curb stomp, which, if you're really smart with it, you can hit it out of nowhere, kind of like Randy's RKO. Which leads me to another thing. Randy in the RKO is incredibly amazing. I mean, yeah, you could say Sting with the sharpshooter, but it's an incredibly slow sharpshooter, and the Scorpion Death Drop isn't that fast of a finisher either. If anything, I say Prof has a harder chance of winning tonight's match.
Now, okay, so between Frost and James, then,
he does not have move thief.
He does not have move thief. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So, Hybrid, now knowing that Seth Rollins does not have move thief, and you've clearly stated Sting as being the weakest of the three, Brutality thought Seth Rollins, but if you're going between Seth Rollins, who doesn't have move thief, and Randy Orton, who's your go-to guy, Hybrid?
Well, not also knocking out Project, there's also a chance he could choose, Sting 91. That ground submission could also help him out a lot more than everyone could think. But if he doesn't choose him, I still say it's going to be between Seth and Randy, Frost and James. Between those two, choice. I'm going to have to give it to not by much, but I'm going to give it to James. Just for the simple fact that the RKO is really amazing.
Well,
and it has a ping combo, it's really fast.
And Brutality said James is the one that needs it the most, so maybe James is going to get that, and that's going to bring me to my final question for you two in regards to this match. Who you got? Okay, Superstar included, the representative included. We got Prof, Frost, James, Hybrid. Who do you have winning this match?
I'm going to give it to Prof.
Perhaps the upset for Sting.
Yeah, the upset.
Is he going to use Sting 91?
I don't know. He's not going to use modern Sting because he has 3 reversals. That'll be a huge detriment to him.
Reversals, they'll be terrible.
He might use Sting 99 just for the standing finisher and a submission, but, if you have 2 standing finishers, you can kind of get confused and, screw yourself over. I say my personal advice would be use Sting 91. 2 submissions. And, in this game, people can kick out really well. But if you know the submission system, you got to win right there.
Well, all right, Brutality. What are your thoughts then, and who do you have winning this triple threat match?
I think James, since he needs it the most, will eventually end up winning. I think this match will go on for about 20 minutes. It'll be pretty good. And I think Prof will get pinned.
Oh, so we have Prof losing in one and winning in the other. Okay, so who's pinning him?
Well, James.
James. All right, we got one James, one Prof. All right, so Frost seems to be the odd man out, although seniority would favor him in terms of experience. Let's move on to the United States Championship match, guys. This is sort of a weird route of how we got here because EBAMS, who has been this great freshman sensation, I guess you want to call it, here in 2K16, holds the U.S. title for close to 2 months, and Neil, also known as Flair, King Los, whatever, many aliases, and he ends up being able to come in and on the network, too. You can actually watch this match back on our past broadcasts. It's still available, and then from there, we'll upload it to YouTube for you guys to watch. But, Neil ends up coming in as basically just to be a sacrificial lamb to EBAMS. EBAMS was expecting the easy win to take the title into what was planned to be a multi-man for him here tonight. And Evans ends up empty-handed. Neil somehow able to steal a win and the United States Championship in the process as Xavier Woods. So we've got Xavier Woods versus Sami Zayn. It's going to be normal rules between these two in a rematch for the United States Championship. Brew, you know Neil. Guys have been good friends. Guys actually met on NHL. It plays.
Sometimes I think Harvard would be willing to agree when a person that doesn't plot more differently than. So I think that's what ended up.
You know what? I don't know as opposed. But I know in the one thing I've seen is Tom. I don't know, the Chicago Blackhawks. They end up competing for the first overall draft pick, where the Blackhawks are competing for the first. Is that kind of what you mean? Down.
I think that's definitely part of the EBAM. Underestimating, this would be Xavier Woods either. So I just think it might be
of all time with T and even former champion. We're also in the ring with Superstar. I mean, actually, I get in the coach on EBAMs that maybe you see a little bit of your former self. You were kind of coming up through the ranks of trying to be two.
Something's burning.
Well, Harvard said that something's burning because I don't think he means. Oh, it must be something else. I don't know, but they hear us. Oh, rat look. I don't like the connection. Did it just all of a sudden happen? All right, guys. Well, hey, if there is, I didn't. Tuned in here. We're gonna try and get fixed and up and running. left the party now. You joined the party. Oh, there you are. All right. Let's see what happens. Keeping an eye on things right now, guys. Our broadcast is a little delayed here from what we're seeing, because we're watching the live feed that you guys are, so if you're hearing me. All right, looks like we are back on. All right, guys. Hey, sorry about the technical difficulties there. We appreciate you guys keeping us updated as well with lag and things such as that you see. Feel free to report to us at any time if you guys believe that there's something going on or going wrong with the broadcast. We'd love to hear feedback, and it helps us out. So thank you guys for that. Anyway, going back to our U.S. title match, Hybrid is taking a current leave of absence, so we'll give him some time. Once he gets back, he can maybe keep us a little more notified. And in the meantime, then, Brutality, we'll just go ahead and get your prediction here on the United States Championship matchup between Neil and E-Bams. We got Sami Zayn being represented by the challenger, Xavier Woods by the champion. So, Brew, who do you have winning?
I think E-Bams will take it this time. I said the main reason that I think Flair won was that maybe E-Bams was underestimating him or really not used to how he plays. So I think after playing him that one time, this will help him out, and he'll know how to beat him this time coming around. And I do think he has a better character coming with Sami Zayn or Xavier Woods.
Helluva Kick or the Koji Clutch can win the match?
It would be really cool to see a Helluva Kick, just because I don't know if anybody with Sami Zayn has ever won with that. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Koji Clutch. It's just more likely, and he just wants to win the title back, so I think that's the way to do it.
And by the way, hey, just want to thank all the viewers right now who have been cooperating with us. 20 viewers live right now. That's actually a pretty good number for a pre-show. And we, of course, expect that number to only grow as the night goes on and we get into the actual pay-per-view festivities. So thank you in the meantime, and we appreciate your cooperation. We see we got some Deathlock fans in the party, or the arena, I guess you want to call it, the chat room. Deathlock's going to be in action with you, Brew, later on tonight, but we're not going to talk about that, Brew. Let's talk about Hybrid's match, and we actually have this scheduled to be our opener in just a little over half an hour now. This is sort of a proving ground match. It's kind of weird how it all came together, but we're going to see Hybrid go one-on-one. ED rules as the former Superstar champion steps out of his comfort zone to take on Pepsi Killer, a known ED competitor. You would think he would have the advantage here. Pepsi's really looking to prove something, Brutality. He tried to prove something against you sort of towards the tail end of 2015's calendar year, as well as 2K15. And this is a guy who's very young, will only be his second WrestleMania coming up this year. He went in and walked out as X Division champion at WrestleMania 8 last year. And a lot of determination from him, but he's just had a tough time climbing over that hump. And Brew, you kind of experienced that a little bit yourself. I mean, people know you notoriously for just being, arguably the greatest superstar that this league has ever had. But even, your first run at the ED World title wasn't a successful one, and it took you a little bit till you got back to that. So, I mean, where do you see Pepsi's progression in terms of where he's at?
I think Pepsi has definitely grown over the past year. Last year at this time frame, he lost to Braden. So going from that, and now that he's in a
Shout out to my little brother, Braden.
Now that he's in a match with Hybrid, and he's had not a Super Title match, Undisputed World Title match, about like 4 or 5 of them already. So there's definitely a huge improvement there. And how many titles has he won? He might be like the person with the most mid-card championships of last year. So he's definitely greatly improved.
And with that, we're not going to have Hybrid in here, but, you see Hybrid, and I mean,
back.
Really, Hybrid, well, glad to hear that you're back. We won't have you analyze this match because it is your match, but Brutality, the book on Hybrid. You fought him in the finals of the Battle for Glory All-Stars tournament a couple years back, and, he's a heck of a competitor. We mentioned, Pepsi may have the advantage here tonight, being that Hybrid's been more on Superstardom as of late, but you have to think it won't take Hybrid too long to adjust. But, what does it do for Pepsi Killer tonight? What is there to prove for Pepsi going one-on-one with Hybrid, which sort of came out of nowhere after Hybrid was originally scheduled to fight Jet. Tripod cashes in his Money in the Bank and kind of foils those plans, and now Hybrid finds himself here in the opener as opposed to closing the show with Pepsi. But, you know, again, Brew, what does Pepsi need to do tonight to prove that he's better than what maybe some people have credited him for?
I think Pepsi really needs the win more than anything else. I think establishing a win against a huge profile main eventer in Hybrid would really put him back on track to go for another World Championship match soon.
All right, and so that being said, you know, at the end of the day, you got to pick based off of your analysis, and not about who you want to win, but who you do think is going to win. So at the end of the day, Brew, Hybrid Pepsi, ED, normal rules, first to 7 if possible. Who do you got?
I think Hybrid has got it. I just, you know, you got to go with the multi-time undisputed world champion. Just, you got to go with the with your favorite. So I got to go with Hybrid. He's just the odds-on favorite to win this match.
All right, well, Hybrid won't get to analyze this match because we feel that he would have probably given himself the vote of confidence as has Brutality. But, guys, you know, big match coming up here. And, again, this is the opener. So you talk about a crazy opener, Pepsi and Hybrid kicking off the show. It's going to be awesome. We have so many great matches planned for you all tonight, including the ones we've already talked about. Let's move on and kick Brutality out of the booth and talk with Hybrid. Hybrid, your apartment nearly burned down. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just smelling smoke and seeing things on fire. But, yeah, I'm good.
Well, who knows? Maybe we'll get a flaming table on our Extreme Rules World Title match later on this evening. You can get some more fire. Anyway, let's talk about Brutality because Brew is going one-on-one with Deathlock tonight. That match is actually going to be scheduled to go 4th here on the card this evening, right before our doubleheader main event for the 2 World Championships. The card is subject to change, not only the list of competitors, but also the order of matches. So, disclaimer right there for you fans. Anyway, though, Hybrid, this is a big match. I mean, it's funny how it goes so far back because you have to go back to 2014. Fear is reality. Brutality is the undisputed world champion. Deathlock is coming off the Royal Rumble victory, and Deathlock fights Brutality. He chooses, instead of using a Royal Rumble victory to go into the WrestleMania main event, he thinks he has a better chance going up against Brew one-on-one. SPR 07 nonetheless, even though it was 2014. And because of that, Brutality ends up getting the victory pretty easily. Now, 2 years later, these two, Brutality this time winning the Royal Rumble, Deathlock in the final 2. And just like our arena tonight, this might be a little bit about payback for Deathlock because this is a guy who, you know, was just there. I mean, 3rd consecutive Royal Rumble appearance, hoping for his 2nd Royal Rumble victory. Brutality steals it from him. And now he's on the outside of the WrestleMania main event picture looking in. You know, there's so much to talk about here, Hybrid, and the one thing that I think is going to be the hardest mountain for Deathlock to climb here, you know, skill, anything regardless, is it seems like anything Brutality touches, he destroys. He's undefeated in WWE 2K16. We're talking Royal Rumble, we're talking Battle Royales, multi-mans, one-on-ones. The guy has not lost a match since the game has launched and EIF has taken part, which goes back to November now. We're pushing about 2 to 3 whole months here. Do you think, Hybrid, you know, if there's a guy out there that can take Brutality to the distance, could Deathlock be that guy?
Well, Deathlock is different from most people. Now, I know Deathlock pretty well. I'm the guy who brought him in. I think he's the one guy that can beat the undefeated 2K16 streak of Brutality. Now, granted, he did have a chance at his other streak. How many months ago that was? That like 6 months ago at this point?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think since then, Deathlock has improved to the top of the level. He's at the top of his game. He made it the final 2 in the Rumble with Brew. The only thing that stopped him from winning is a little bit of a mess up here and there. But he's smoothed out the bumps. He's ready to beat Brew.
And so you saying he's ready to beat Brew, one thing I mentioned is going the distance, and you look at Deathlock, in recent performances, Deathlock has done just that. You know, he closed out his 2015 campaign with arguably a match of the year against your opponent, Pepsi Killer, A just star-studded match between the two. Deathlock able to make a comeback into the victory after getting hit with 6 finishers. So is Brutality going to be ready to show some resiliency and be able to withstand the duration that Deathlock is going to be able to withstand? Like, who here in this match, Hybrid, is going to have, I guess, more stamina, you could say? And I don't mean the game's version of stamina.
Yeah, it's going to be a war of attrition. Who can kick out the most? Who can hit the most finishers? Who's going to get hit with the finisher count? It all depends. Who knows? Maybe there'll be one slip up on the pin bar. Maybe a random finisher out of nowhere. Maybe a comeback. It all works so... what's the word I'm looking for? Differently in this game than it does in past years' games. You have so much multitasking, so many things to keep track of, you know. And I think Deathlock's better at doing that. No offense to Brutality, you know. Love you, man, but no fucking. I just don't see him able to be able to handle that. Deathlock just seems like more of a guy that can handle the strategy part of it. He knows what to do in dire situations. And Brew has shown he can do it himself, but this is a completely different beast of a game.
So at the end of the day here, Hybrid, you have to pick. Are you going Brutality, keeping the streak alive, or does Deathlock end this streak, although he couldn't end the last one?
I think Deathlock redeems himself, and he beats Brutality in a very close match.
Very bold prediction for what could be a very entertaining match, guys. Make sure you keep your eyes glued to this pay-per-view because that could be your match of the year candidate. This is expected to create some bombs here tonight. And of course, well, we're at the 2 bombs of the night, and we got the Undisputed World Championship and Undisputed Superstar Championship matches to talk about as we bring Brutality back into the broadcast booth. We got both him and Hybrid here to analyze. Got a bit tongue-tied there. Sorry about that. Today was just a crazy day for me. And by the way, before I do go, hey, Black Sheep Social Club, thanks for the shout-out, man. I appreciate it. And as Deathlock said, I do hockey. And if you think this commentary is pretty decent, I gladly invite you to stay with us come the actual pay-per-view event when we're doing play-by-play of each matchup. But I appreciate the compliment. Now, going back to our Undisputed World Championship matchups, let's start with the world title because it's going to be our event. We got Hostile defending his championship for the 3rd time against DZ and Ratluck. 3rd consecutive time these 3 are in, and it looks like James Arkoffel is just taking Greedy out of the Royal Rumble. So congrats on James Arkoffel for winning this Royal Rumble that really didn't mean anything in the long run, but hey, you know what? Maybe that means something good for him is happening here tonight. But either way, moving on to that World Championship matchup, Hostile has to look at DZ and Ratluck as just the monkeys on his back that he cannot get off. And he has a chance to do so tonight in an Extreme Rules match where if he wins, he walks into WrestleMania with the Undisputed World Championship. Hostile has not been in the main event of EIF WrestleMania in 5 years. This would only be his 2nd time main eventing. Heck, even DZ's got more than that. And Ratluck as well, winning WrestleMania 8's main event last year in a controversial fashion, but we won't go into the logistics of that. Extreme Rules, Hostile DZ Ratluck. Hostile wins off leverage pin at Ultimate Destiny. Now he's got to walk in here. Hybrid, I'm going to start with you. I know you're a best friend of Ratluck's, and obviously Ratluck, don't shut the cameras on off. Don't shut the cameras off on us, regardless of what we say here, man. We still love you. And Hybrid, you have your thoughts about DZ. And you and Hostile, well, you guys seem to get along pretty well. So here's the thing, Hybrid. Who do you got going over in this matchup between these 3?
Well, I got to go with my boy
Friendships
Ratluck.
aside. Friendships aside, you're still going with Ratluck.
Friendships aside, looking at it from just complete, who's the better man? My boy Ratluck. I mean, he's been on a smash this game here. Every time he shows up, he's either winning or in a triple threats, not getting pinned. I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
Okay, but now don't you feel, though, while you're saying that, and that may be fair, isn't there some controversy here with the fact that Ratluck has just not been able to really retain a championship? I mean, sure, this isn't him defending here, but, let's take a look at this. I mean, is this guy, you believe Ratluck wins tonight? Do you think he's ready to enter back-to-back WrestleManias as a main eventer, but this time defend his world championship? Do you honestly have the confidence in him to do it?
Yes, because if you look at passes, All of his other defenses have been triple threat matches, right? And guess who got pinned? Not Ratluck. I believe Ratluck can defend. If it's in one-on-ones, unfortunately he can't do it in multi-mans, but that's when you have to rely on someone else. When Ratluck's relying on himself, he can pull through. He can defend. Be a great champion. He's shown why we can in the past.
Well,
I mean,
all right. Well, hey, you got Ratluck here. Brutality. I'm not sure if you're paying attention to the chat board at all, but I'll keep you in touch. DZ has been very vocal throughout the evening on our pre-show, and you know he says like he can't win the triple threat. It doesn't matter who gets pinned, but it's who gets the pin. That's a quote coming from DZ. And, you know, this is a guy who, Brew, a lot of people have made some jokes about, a lot of people have their thoughts on, but he's a 3-time former Undisputed World Champion. He actually ended your reign that nearly went on to be 6 months. The longest reign in EIF history is ended by this man, who proceeded to have the shortest reign. But, hey, that's not what we're here to talk about. Brew, how does DZ stay in the main event regardless of the lack of skill that he seems to continuously have year after year?
DZ primarily wins the World Championships and stay around him just for his mind. Alright, DZ is very, very smart when it comes to these types of things. Just like how he's won, I believe, like 3 World Championships on ladder matches and scramble matches. DZ's just very good whenever it comes to like mind games. But over the past few times, DZ has been the one that's gotten pinned from Hostile. So, I don't know, maybe third time's the charm for DZ in this case, but I don't really like his chances going into this match.
Alright, well, you know, you said third time might be the charm here. You may not like him in terms of his chances for this, but what do we have in terms of real facts here, in terms of who is going to win this match? Hostile's bested these two in back-to-back situations. Does he have one more left in him to head into this WrestleMania main event, Brutality?
I think he does. He's like, based on what I was saying earlier about with the Hybrid and Pepsi match, how Hybrid is the favorite, so I picked him to win. I think that same thing will happen in this match. Hostile just beat them already 2 times. I think the third time is not going to be any different. And I do think he'll get another pinfall victory over DZ, and Ratluck does not get pinned again.
Is it going to be leverage pin?
No, it won't be leverage this time. I think DZ's ready for that, so it won't be leverage.
All right, so you got Hostile, Hybrid had Ratluck. Let's talk about the match that is the main event of the evening. We got him in the arena now. We do know the Undisputed Superstar champion, as much as that pains Hybrid to hear, because it's not him. Prismatic Nebula, he is officially in the arena now, hours away from defending his Undisputed Superstar Championship, his first ever Undisputed title defense of his entire career. It took him nearly 5 years to get this championship. And tonight, Tripod's having a very ceremonial night. Tonight he'll be competing in his 500th career EIF match. Took him over 490 matches to become the Undisputed Superstar champion. Dream came true for him when he cashed in that Money in the Bank, despite it being a bit of a scare in terms of how things were going. Hybrid looked like he may have been on his way to a monumental comeback over Tripod. Tripod just ended up with more gas in the tank and more food in the belly, and that's nothing new for him. But all jokes aside, tonight he's going up against Jetstar. Jetstar, a very determined former champion, much like Hybrid, who's looking to get back on the saddle and ride into the sunset that is EIF WrestleMania 9 in March. He knows he has, much as Tripod, of course, the winner gets a free 5-week run into Mania with the title, and it's going to be an opportunity for both of these guys. So, you know, Brutality, you know Jet, and you've known Tripod. In fact, you guys debuted, you debuted a couple months after Tripod did, so guys have been in the league basically the same amount of time. In fact, Tripod's been here a little longer than you due to some absences you've had throughout your early stages in your career. It's sort of weird to see guys that have been here relatively the same time and the success you've had versus the success he's had, but this is obviously a huge moment for him. You made a very bold statement at the top of our broadcast here for this pre-show in terms of what you expect to happen. We have Jetstar, of course, the challenger with Dean Ambrose. Tripod is the champion with Kevin Owens for tonight. And I just want to know, why exactly do you feel, for those that missed it, enlighten the people here. Do you feel that Jetstar is almost guaranteed this win, and you say it's a landslide victory, maybe even a joke of a main event? What makes you so confident in making that prediction?
I just think that it took Tripod 490 matches to finally win his main event championship that he's been like trying to get, and yet he had to cash in Money in the Bank for it, and the fact that Hybrid was so damaged already. I just don't think that him going up against Jet in a one-on-one where they're both at the same health, same momentum, that it's going to be too good for Tripod.
Well, here's the thing, though. You got to give him some justice, and I'm not sure if you know this or not. Tripod's actually went the finisher count distance recently, and he's been kicking out like crazy. We have not seen Jetstar tested as much as Tripod has been in kicking out. So if Tripod, given that Jet can't use a submission here with Dean Ambrose, do you think there's even a chance that maybe Tripod would be able to outlast Jetstar in a kicking out contest if it turns into such?
If it turns into that, then maybe. But then again, I think people are forgetting that Jet made it to the final 2 of the True Punishment Elimination Chamber Superstorm title match, so I think Jet can go the distance just as much as Tripod, but maybe Tripod could edge him out just barely. But I don't know, I don't think that Jet should have too much of a problem with Tripod, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. And of course, Hybrid, we got to go to you here. In the meantime, I want to remind everybody again, the matches that you are seeing right now on the screen, this is not an actual EIF sanctioned match. We've just got some entertainment for you to go easy on the eyes as you see some of the new DLC additions to WWE 2K16. The Arena WWE Payback is the arena for tonight's Fear is Reality event. And of course, Hybrid, will have you close out the return of the panel. It's been a return for you as well. You weren't allowed on this thing for a couple of years before we even got on the stream. And you've been pretty good, though, tonight. Hey, maybe you earned yourself a spot on the next one. So let's have you dissect this matchup between two guys who you're keeping a very heavy eye on. I know you're going to kick the show off here, and we want to give you a couple minutes to prepare for that. But I have a feeling you're going to be here at the end of the show watching that match very heavily as well.
Of course I am. I have to get to watch Jet beat the paper champ Tripod.
Oof. Harsh insults to the guy, and why is your opinion that?
Well, we all know Tripod. He's not good. He got lucky. He cashed in on Money in the Bank. Cashed in on me when I was incredibly weak. Had to put on a fantastic match of Pepsi Killer. Alright, go back, watch that match. It was amazing. Okay, Tripod had come in and ruin it with his Money in the Bank. And guess what? I almost beat him, and he got lucky off a leverage pin. Alright, last time I fought Jet, he fought me tooth and nail. Hey, can Tripod do that? I agree. I agree that Tripod and Jet.
Shout out to Road Dogg.
Shout out to Road Dogg, thank you. But the main thing here is not can Jet and Tripod hang with each other. It's how quick can Jet beat Tripod? I have money for 10 minutes. I give Tripod 10 minutes.
I don't know if we're allowed to gamble here, but I just do want to point out Hybrid has bets, so place them now. But
place them now. If you win, I'll give you a hug.
Well, of course, bold predictions here by two superstars, but I'll tell you what, guys, viewers at home listening in right now, these are two of the best in the game. And these are guys, as Hybrid yet again listens to Road Dogg in the background, but these are two guys that really know their stuff when it comes to EIF. They're two of the most logical, two of the best, and possibly greatest of all time in this league. Brutality, Hybrid, appreciate your time here tonight, joining us on the return of the panel, and we would love to hear your thoughts. Give us your thoughts on what you thought about the panel tonight. We do apologize that there was some lag throughout it, and we thank you for keeping us up to date with it. So we just want to, once again, thank you guys, and feel free to provide feedback throughout tonight's broadcast on the panel as well as some of the other matches. We do ask that you do it in an appropriate manner, of course. And we want to let you know that it's going to conclude tonight's pre-show broadcast. Just a couple of disclaimers here before we get off the air and take a brief break before the pay-per-view. One of them is that there has been a new update to the Xbox One. I forgot to mention this during the pre-show earlier, but there is a new update for parties that now you can see who is in a party with which people. Because of the update, there's been some issues, some bugs that the One has been having in terms of parties disconnecting, crashing altogether. So I want to warn everybody then tonight, just so you all know, that is something that we could be looking to encounter. And, you know, we're going to do our best, of course, as we always try, to make sure that we have it ready to go for all of you, to make sure that we can get it back up and running if at any point our broadcast does shut down or we need to take a temporary timeout. Coming up at the top of the hour, we have our promo video to get you underway for Fears Reality, made by the great Hybrid Maniac. Of course, we have a poster offline made by Jetstar. We've got Ratluck doing the cameras for entrances. It's a group effort here at EIF. Some of the best guys in the business when it comes to the online wrestling gaming community. They've done a great job for us, and we hope that we're doing a great job for you, our viewers. We encourage you to follow us here on Twitch. And in the meantime, you have a couple of minutes, okay? So I don't want you to go away, but if you need to get some soda, some snacks, feel free, sit back, enjoy the ride. It's going to be a fun one tonight. We've got big announcements coming up tonight. Hall of Fame induction announcement. Another inductee will get the call to the Hall. A big announcement regarding Money in the Bank. 3 championship matches and so much more headed your way. Coming up in just about 10 minutes, it's EIF's 7th annual Fears Reality pay-per-view live right here on the EIF